Hello and good evening, peeps. I'm Andrew, One Star Peeps, and tonight we have a treat for you. This is the Geeky Tees Sealed Prime Championship here in Southern California, the very last one in Southern California, and this is round 5. We have our GMI Prime Championship, Adaptive Prime Championship winner, Dangle DeBar 53, piloting Shackleton, the Deacon of Desire, versus my very own Mick of One Star Crew, piloting Topaz, the athlete of Rockway. This was Mick's final Southern California appearance. And it was a great pleasure having him here, part of the Keyforge community and a roommate for all these years. Thank you, Mick. We will definitely miss you. So let's take a look at these decks. We've got Shackleton. We've seen this deck before, earlier in the stream, or sorry, earlier in the recordings. We've got a... Ooh, hold on, sorry. I'm clicking buttons. All right, there we go. Get rid of that thing. Anyways, Binding Iron is Oblivion, Creeping Oblivion, double E on the fringes. Not as powerful as was last time we saw it. And what else we got? We've got not too much. I don't know. Let's focus on Mick's deck. Mick's the new deck. We've got double Kirby, triple Chan, a Jericho, Amber Tracker, double Quadricorder. So some interesting Amber control options. And Star Alliance is clearly good stuff. Sorry, Saurian flips the key. Double Phalanx Strike, Axiom, Tribute, great. Shrix, awesome. So Salt is what so. And looks like they are about to decide their keeps. A Key Charge, Unnatural Selection, super good. Double Brimblings, Mustic, Instruments of Silence or whatever. All right, Mick decides to mulligan here. And it looks like Daniel is keeping. So we got a little bit more time. Amber Pips is low on Mick's side. Expected Amber and Amber. The only thing Mick seems to have going for him is bigger creatures and more Amber control. He's gonna have to really pull something through based on these stats. But we believe. All right, here we go. The match is. Sorry, the match is starting. Don't look behind the curtains. All right, so looks like Mick is going first. He does have a great start with a Kirby if he likes. Kirby plus a Wild Spirit could be an interesting start. I'd like to note that Mick is last time Mick was at a sealed Prime Championship, he went 5-0 in Swiss and lost in the first round of the top cut. So he is hungry for a win here. He could taste it. He knows he can do it. And this was his chance to prove it. All right. So unfortunately, Daniel says no. It is Positron Bolt, no Kirby for you. Not gonna make it easy for Mick. So reassembling Automaton comes out, and that is it for Daniel's turn. Back over to Mick. What can Mick do? Unnatural Selection, definitely. All right, plays it for the Amber. Sitting at 2. Pampakajaga. More Pampakajagas. Rustnar, plus an Instrument of Silence. So whenever it gains Skirmish, and whenever it fights, it gains 1 on top of Rustnar's fight and destroy an artifact ability. So this is a very scary Rustnar. I don't recall Daniel having too many important artifacts, or maybe he had Library of the Damned. He did have some interesting stuff, I think, if I remember right. I might be confusing his deck with someone else's. Anyways, what does Daniel have for us? Draining Touch is probably a big get here. It's a nice little 2-for-1, although the Pampaka might be a little bit more important. Although it's only really good if you have ready creatures, so Mick is... Alright, so we go Dis. E on the fringes comes down. There's 2 Amber, 2 be stolen. Plays the Draining Touch. Okay. Yep, here's the 2-for-1. Not bad. Creeping Oblivion comes out. Purges 2 cards from Mick's discard pile. Gets rid of Kirby. Yeah, never want to see that guy again. Good strong start. And what else do you want? Unnatural Selection sounds like a good one too. It's always get rid of those board wipes. Make sure, as Daniel, I have more options on when it comes to controlling the board than my opponent does. And that's it. Ooh, EE number 2 comes out. This could be very scary. Although Mick does have a zap. So when you have 2 E's out, every time you discard and purge once, you get to steal twice. So, Mick, well, he doesn't know quite how much danger he is in. He needs to have a plan for this E sooner rather than later. Zap does hit for 3 currently. If he can play a Star Alliance creature, it can hit for 4, which isn't quite enough. Doesn't really change anything. The Reassembling Automaton will just heal itself up, considering E is still around. So what does Mick want to do about this? See a Calvin, Zap, Theros Centurion. Looks like mostly Star Alliance cards in his hand, at least 3. Can is the final Star Alliance card. Alright, what is Daniel working with? Well, Mick figures his turn out. Oh, Daniel decides to hide his hand from. Oh, we got a Dendrix. I don't know. Dendrix, Draining Touch. Alright, so Mick goes into Star Alliance. Calvin plus Can plus Zap deals 4 damage to creatures. Deals 1 to E and then maybe just all 4 to E. Who knows? If I were, I guess it would, if he did distribute the last 3 points of damage to the Reassembly Automaton, it would at least be exhausted on this next turn. Alright, so Daniel goes into Star Alliance, plays 2 Cans. Whatever Mick can do, Daniel's Cans can better. And a Walls fails to find anything in the discard pile to get back, and that's it. Alright, Mick. Staring at his Prawn Monkeys and the army of 2-power creatures. Although Mick does have his own army of 2-power creatures, so maybe not the most exciting trades, but it is a trade. So what can you do? And also going to Untamed here does not cause any stealing to happen. So Prawn Monkeys clears all the Cans out, and all the Calvins, and all the Walls. Oh, Calvin does have armor. Cool. So Calvin only takes 1. And Pampaka Jaga takes 2. Prawn Monkeys is out. There's the 2-for-1 back into Mick's favor, kind of. 3 for 2. So Reap with Pampaka here, so his Bramble Links in hand comes into play ready. He could opt to fight to just get rid of the Reassembling. He does. Not a bad choice. Although considering mixed double quadricorders, I would always be happy to see my opponent with a Reassembling creature. All that. So Key Charge was drawn, Chan. Alright, so Mick is sitting on a nice looking board. If things get too hairy, he can choose to with the Skirmish on the Piranha Monkeys, I believe. Oh no, it's play Reap. So never mind, take that back. I thought it was play Fight Reap. So this Piranha Monkeys has Skirmish, so it can deal 2 damage to a singular creature now for free, or 2 damage to every creature and gain an Amber. Alright, what is Daniel gonna do? Thermal Plasmate. Sounds real good. Can move the Pampaka anywhere and murder it. Same cannot be said for the Bramble Links, but that's the least of his worries, I think. Of what's on the board. Prawn Monkey is also a pretty big threat. Definitely looking to go Logos. Sanitation Engineer. Mick gets sad. Missed some sort of important thing. Plays Thermal Plasmate and moves the Piranha Monkeys somewhere next to any position on the board will kill it. So prioritizes that. Makes some amount of sense. The Hazardous on the Sanitation Engineer will mitigate some of this damage from the Skirmish. Or sorry, mitigate some of the ability for Mick to fight with all of his Skirmish. Alright, so Mick, what are you going to do for us today on this turn? Sitting at 4 Amber. Daniel still has, Daniel sitting at 3 Amber, so it's a really tight race here. Mick is still up in terms of Delta. Looks like he's got a handful of handful of Saurian cards. Plays Shrix, chooses 2 Exalt. Sitting at a hard 4, soft 5 now. Captures once with Centurion and a Centurion comes down and a Litigious Raptor. Opts to move the amber onto Shrix, so goes in turn with check with 5 amber and a soft 7. Currently, Dangle does have the ability to remove the Shrix on board, and the Draining Touch is not going to do it. E can steal 2 here, so that's a start. Not quite enough. And it does mean he could steal all 3, but he will have to lose his he's purging. It discards his Dendrix and purges it to steal 1. It goes down to 4. Dangle goes up to 3. Discards Library of the Damned. Ooh, he's really committed here. Goes up to 4, Mick down to 3. And finally Draining Touch to... Looks like he's pointing at he pointed at the Shrix for a second, and then I feel like Mick is that flux in there is reminding him that Draining Touch does not cannot target creatures with amber on them. Alright, so Mick ends, so Daniel passes back to Mick. Mick fails to forge. What can Mick do about this? There's still no way on board for Daniel to deal with that trick. So Mick is pretty safe. Whatever he does here. Although the EE does represent an untold amount of purging. So Daniel will eventually run out of discards. There is the key charge. Mick can just reap twice and then use all the amber on Shrix to forge. He's really worried about it. Although that looks like his only untamed card. I see the Axiom. I'm not quite sure if that's worth it either. So he has 2 Star Alliance cards. He could reap 1, draw a card. That does move him into check plus Chan and an Explo Rover. And who knows what he will draw. Alright, Mick has an idea. And he's going to go for it. What is his idea? Alright, goes into Saurian. Fights EE. Lets him... Has Skirmish. All of his creatures have Skirmish. Alright, so he exalts the Raptor. So he can use Calvin. Daniel kindly reminding Mick that he needs to exalt the Raptor to use Calvin. Calvin then fights EE. Or he uses, or he reaps with the EE. Calvin fights EE. Draws a card. Trying to describe how Calvin kills a weird spider thing was my guess of those actions. Draws a Theros Centurion. Nice, not a bad hit. Redder Golem, wow, and a Broxodon Auxiliary. So Mick has a lot of good board coming up. Broxodon Auxiliary, Redder, increases Daniel's keys by 3. And finally a Centurion to capture 1. Discard Axiom, or do you hold on to it? I don't think you're too worried in this case about... I guess, yeah, if Daniel has a board wipe here, that'd be great for him. And Mick would probably need something to deal with that. So it's probably a couple turns later. Thinking hard about it. Maybe just hold on to it, just in case. You can hold on to it. Mick's far enough ahead. He ends the turn when check with 4 and a soft 7. Alright, what can you do, Daniel? I see an Ingram. Definitely has his Star Alliance cards pulled to the front, so gonna put a Cloaking Dongle on the Sanitation Engineer, his own Calvin, plus an Ingram. All of these creatures now have elusive. Ingram wards Ingram. And that looks like it. He's gonna pass the turn back to Mick. Alright. What can you do? Alright, Mick forges. Spends all 3 of the Shrix Amber, plus 3. So now he starts his turn with 1 key and 1 amber. First amber of the match, or sorry, first key of the match goes to Mick. Mick is staring at this key charge, hoping one day to get more use out of it. He does have a whole bunch of Saurian cards. Trix is not... Let's see, what can Trix do? So Shrix can reap, whatever. Shrix is under threat of the Ingram and the Calvin coming in at it. So if he wanted to, he could fight a whole bunch of times with the Centurion and the Raptor to clear off some of this nonsense, and then reap with the Shrix. See, that would cost him. Let's see. So if Mick does that, he still has Redder, Roxodon, Shrix. So you can basically gain 4 Amber here, just on the board, and kill the Calvin. Although Daniel does have a good number of blasters. Mick doesn't know this. Needs to be worried about that. If Medic picks up a blaster and fights into Shrix, Shrix dies. So that is unfortunate, and that would cost Mick a 3rd fight, and he won't be able to gain as much Amber, but all of his creatures do have skirmish, so fighting is not that bad for Mick. He does, and the Centurion can fight twice, so you can fight Centurion into Ingram, pop the ward, or sorry, pop the elusive, capture 1. Raptor fights, pops the ward, exalts, uses the Centurion to fight the 3rd time, kills it, captures the 2nd one. And that might be good enough. Captures, alright, so here he goes, captures 1 on the Centurion. Raptor fights. Points out that they all have skirmish, and Daniel's like, what? No. Oh, shoot. Okay, yeah. Alright, so everyone's jagging. Oh, okay, so interesting. He goes after the Sanitation Engineer, and by fighting with both those creatures, they both don't take damage. The armor prevents that 1 hazardous that the Sanitation Engineer had. Alright. Misses, or it doesn't draw into a card. Sorry. Doesn't draw into a Saurian card. He gets a Chan off that draw. Mick can just fight with, probably fights with Roxodon here, or even the Redder. Not a big deal. Doesn't plan on exalting this turn anyways. Alright, so what do? Do you have any other Saurian cards in your hand, Mick, to pull you up to a check here? Oh, just decides to murder all of Daniel's board. Doesn't give him any options. Exalt Tricks. I guess he forgot to exalt the Raptor earlier in the turn. Axiom, still sitting there, not doing anything, but at this point, it's not costing me anything. Alright, so Daniel goes into Logos. He does have a Twin Bolt. It's going to do something. It's at least going to get rid of the Pampaka. Want Twin Bolt, goes up to 5. It's Pampaka and the Calvin. Alright. No more free fighting for Mick. Except for the Bramblings, which already just has skirmish by default. Alright, what do you got for us this turn, Mick? You could just reap for 5. And there's not much Daniel can do to keep up with that. You could continue to fight with your Centurion. Keep Daniel from having options. The Hologramophone could start doing work. Could use looking at the Raptor, trying to figure out the good use for it. Wants to find good uses for it. Let's see, staring at his hand, thinking. He's 100% out of Saurian cards, at least that he wants to even play. Centurion fights, takes 2 damage, captures 1. Alright, and reap. And reap. 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 And does he choose to exalt here? And does choose to exalt. So this Shrix is alright, so I think he ends the turn at, I'm gonna say 6 with a soft 8. What can Daniel do about this? Mick goes into check clearly here. Poltergeist is not going to do anything. Galactic Census. Kirby plays another Kirby. Okay, yeah, good start. Galactic Census, gain 1. I think. 1 star lines, 2, 3, yeah. So gain 1. Galactic Census, I think, starts getting up there when you gain 4 or more. And then he has two Kirby activations, one of which is going to be the Binding Irons, and the second one looks like it's just going to be the Poltergeist for the sake of playing cards. Binding Irons. Mick gains 3 chains. Looks like Mick is forging here. Poltergeist destroys an artifact, probably Hologramophone to ward a Kirby. There you go. Perfect. All right, Mick forges the second key. These Saurians are doing a lot of work for Mick. Shrix alone has been worth like 6 amber at least, off of all the exalted amber plus the number of times it's reaped. Mick could just reap a whole bunch once again, not even worry about the Kirbys, although the Kirbys could take out the Shrix. And Mick does really respect Kirby, so there's a good chance he will just remove them. Reaping for 5, and he could just reap for 5 and not exalt, and hope that Dangle cannot answer 7 amber. Both those Kirbys could fight the Centurion if Mick does that to gain some amber. If Dangle has any amber control in his hand, then that will do it. That could buy him a turn and get him a hefty amount of amber. Those Kirbys do represent a lot of potential for Daniel. Festering Touch, I think that's an Evil Eye. Yeah, okay, so Mick, even if he goes up to 7 here, is not out of the woods. Daniel will definitely go into... Daniel's definitely going to be forced to play Dis or Starlands on the next turn, depending on how many Kirbys Mick leaves him with. Festering Touch also is going to be worth a lot here, because I imagine Mick is going to be tempted to fight with the Raptor here. Roxodon fights the first Kirby. Takes 3 damage. Pops the ward. Reaps. Uses 2 Exalt. Daniel's key cost increases by 3. Shrix reaps. And also chooses to Exalt. So, Axiom. Okay. There you go. That's the game plan. Kills both the Kirbys and keeps all of his creatures minus the Bramble Links. And gets to reap with his remaining 2 creatures. Goes to 6 with a soft 7. And it will be down to Daniel to figure out what he can do. What to do about that. Alright, check. Daniel. Picks Dis. Plays Evil Eye. Plays Festering Touch. Festering Touch will... what? Deal 3 damage to the Centurion? Won't do too much, but Evil Eye will be a start, buying him some turns. Alright, so deals 3 damage to Broxodon. Broxodon is destroyed. And adds 3 damage thanks to the armor. Only 2 damage thanks to the armor. Evil Eye increases Mick's key cost by 3. Dendrix comes down. And that's it. We get at 6, stares at his key charge and be like, how do I get to 10 amber to forge with key charge here? Does have the fittest, which will save Shrix from the Dendrix. Quadricorder, Amber Tracker, Just a bunch of star alliances that don't do anything, but it will let him draw a lot of cards. And hopefully, if the game continues on much longer, if Daniel didn't draw any Amber control here, or if Daniel did draw any Amber control, I see a Ray, which doesn't do it. Ooh, information exchange, wild wormhole. So Daniel does have an answer here if Mick stays at exactly 6. Or more if Mick steals one here, Mick can go up to 7 and Daniel will be okay. Reap for 4. Come at me. Alright. She goes to check with 10, soft 11. Oh, and soft 12. Mick's just going all in on this Shrix. And does exalt on the redder to force Daniel to forge for the full 9. Alright. So, what can you do here, Daniel? You need to remove 5 Amber from Mick's pool plus kill Shrix at a minimum on this turn. That is Graph. That is too much to protect territory. You do not have shadows. That's pretty much the game. What do you got for us? Wild Wormhole? Just go for it. Quantrino Flux. Oh. You needed that card like 4 turns ago. That Shrix plus the Raptor there was holding so much Amber for Daniel. It just came at the bottom of the deck. Logos plays Anomaly Exploiter, Finger Trap, and Information Exchange to steal 1. Wild Wormhole to play the last card Daniel's deck, which is a Blaster. It goes on Dendrix. And that's it. Congratulations, Mick, on winning round 5 of Geeky T's Prime Championship, and thank you, Daniel, for putting up a great show. And thank you everyone at home for watching. I hope this was entertaining for you. If it was, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you know when the next round goes out. With that, thank you and good night.